I want to talk to you about the most incredible scientific principle related to music that shockingly most musicians know little to nothing about. Yes, I'm talking about the musical Harmonic series, and I'm going to explain and demonstrate what that is. My name is Tim Smolens. Please take a moment to subscribe below to my channel, ring the notification bell, and after you've had a chance to watch it, leave comments or questions below. Please also consider joining my Patreon, which is called High Castle Conservatory, to access deeper discussions and content of all things musical science, composition, chord reharmonization, music production, and more. The Harmonic series is a simple, yet unfathomably deep, naturally occurring phenomenon that is the hidden basis for the primary elements of music. It is relatively unknown in the learned music world of conservatories, jazz curriculums, pop rock music, and Western music theory in general, and it's abstract in the way that it intersects with the realms of science, math as musical harmony, philosophy, symbology, and more. Given such richness of subject matter, I intend to turn this into a multi-part video series of which this is the first episode. This will be an ongoing exploration of the hidden principles housed in the Harmonic series. Okay, let's start at the beginning. What the heck is the musical Harmonic series? Here is an aggregate definition I pulled together from a variety of external sources mixed with my own conceptions, and probably spent way too much time refining this definition that is admittedly a little bloated, but there's so much in the Harmonic series that I had to get it all in there. So let me read it to you here. The musical Harmonic series is an ineffable, naturally occurring, infinite sequence of incrementally higher sine wave overtones that resonate covertly and simultaneously within any single note produced on an acoustic, pitch-producing instrument, furnishing musicians with the primary elements of their craft, harmony, rhythm, and timbre, and expressed mathematically as whole number ratios from 1 to infinity, with each subsequent harmonic gradually diminishing in volume. And despite the multitude of notes present, the average ear detects only one pitch. All musical principles and harmonic possibilities originate from this acoustic phenomenon, which is, as great maestro Leonard Bernstein said, preordained by nature, and as I say, impervious to the fickle whims of people more or less brilliant. In other words, there are so many aspects of music that fall under the domain of opinion, like taste and all that kind of stuff. However, the presence of the musical Harmonic series really doesn't, because it is an indisputable fact of nature that is present in every note. What a mind-blowing concept. I know people are hard to impress these days, being in a state of perpetual sensory overload like we all are, but consider this concept for a minute. When we play one note, there are actually an infinite number of notes ringing out inside that note in a precise tuning that's made by nature, not by people. So inside of one tone are all tones. The tuning system we use today in Western music is called 12-tone equal temperament, and what it does is equally divide the octave into 12 intervals. 12-tone equal temperament offers the benefit of allowing us to easily switch between keys on a variety of fixed-pitch instruments like guitar or piano, and most of the intervals of 12-tone equal temperament come close enough to the Harmonic series tuning within about 12%, which is the outer limit of acceptability, roughly. However, in 12-tone equal temperament, there is a significant drawback of not being in tune with the Harmonic series on certain crucial intervals. Well, when I say crucial intervals, if you know intervals, how do you feel about the dominant seventh or the minor seventh? Pretty important, huh? Or the major third? Both are pretty darn out of tune. The major third's 14% out of tune, which is just past that limit of acceptability, 12%. And the dominant 7, according to the Harmonic series tuning, is 31 cents flatter in the Harmonic series. That is mind-blowing. We'll go over all that later. Let me demonstrate on a string instrument how this works. I'll use my contrabass, which is sitting over here. I have it tuned down to low C drone. It's usually an E, so it's much lower. And I wanted to align to a frequency of an Earth Day. It sounded so new agey. I love it. But it's true. Everything in the universe, you can give it a wavelength, a speed. There's so many things you can correlate an actual frequency to and then just change the octave by doubling it. But we'll go over all that later. When I play the open string, it rings as a whole string, as 1/1 or the first harmonic, but it also rings and resonates at precise nodes, which are called harmonics, that divide the string into 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 6, all the way up to infinity, theoretically. So the string is ringing as whole, and it's also at all the possible nodes of harmonics. It is also ringing and resonating at those same at the same time. What an amazing property or principle that this has. I think this could have been why Pythagoras liked it demonstrated on a string. It was said, at least Manly P. Hall thought so. Nature did leave us strong evidence of this numeric scheme on the open string by placing these harmonics right at that place. So a harmonic will ring even if I take my hand off, but if I have a non-harmonic or a fretted tone, I have to hold it there to have it keep ringing. See, it doesn't even come out. But right when I get to the harmonic, it starts ringing. If I take it away even slightly, it stops ringing, and I would have to fret the note. So harmonics, those harmonics are all ringing. So we have the open string, which is 1 over 1, and the second harmonic we would have to divide the string in 2 and lightly touch. Place my finger there, and you can hear the harmonic. It's an octave. I'm going to talk about the law of octave. Anytime you double a note, it's the same note with an octave difference. After this halfway point of the string, you can see this cuts the string in 2 segments, this way and this way to the bridge. So it's the exact median of the string. Interesting property. It has a mirror image from there. I could go this far and get that note, but check this out. Same note. It's a little easier to go this way for some reason, but the harmonics are actually a mirror image of each other. A pretty amazing property. So let me now produce the first 4 harmonics. Open string is number 1. Halfway point is 2. Octave. Then we get the misnomer of the perfect fifth. And then 4 is a double of 2, so it's the same note as 1. Harder to produce. Oh, there it is. You can hear that's the same note as the 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth harmonic. It's that major third, or whatever, the fifth harmonic that's 14 cents flatter than equal temperament. Let me now try the first 12 harmonics. So as you go up, based on the physical limitations of your instrument, it gets increasingly difficult to produce harmonics. So you can get, better musicians can get higher and higher, but let me try to get 12 here. This will be a little bit tough as I get up to like 9, 10, 11, 12. And you can hear the harmonics get closer and closer together with each new harmonic. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is a double of 2 and 1, 5, 6 is a double of 3. There it is. 7's a very strange note, 31 cents. Oh, so cool. Then 8 is a double of 4 and 2 and 1. 9 is a new note. 10 is a double of 5. 11 is a very strange note exactly between E and F, or F and F sharp. There it is. Then the 12th harmonic is a double of 3. It also has this interesting property. Depending where I place my bow, away from the bridge or closer to the bridge, you can hear it accents the higher harmonics. It's kind of like when they sweep through those techno filters. It's kind of like higher harmonics being accented. So away from the bridge and then closer to the bridge. Pretty extreme. Away from the bridge. Something else cool happens if I sweep through these harmonics, meaning I'm not touching down to the fingerboard, I'm only lightly touching the string, so the only thing that will ring are harmonics. Notes that are not harmonics will not ring. So as I sweep through these, only the harmonics of the open string are going to be hit. So check this out. Amazing how the as you get closer to the bridge, it brings out those really high harmonics. I'll get closer and closer to the bridge. Pretty cool. If you guys like this content, I just wanted to let you know I am writing a book on this subject that I hope to be done with in the next 6 months to a year, but there will be all the research I've done for the last 10 or 15 years all put into one organized system in a book. Make sure you're on my email list, timsmolens.com, if you want to find out more about that, or join me at my Patreon, High Castle Conservatory on Patreon, and we will be diving much deeper into this subject. There are many ways to visualize the Harmonics series, but let me demonstrate it on a straight line. Please direct your attention to this linear chart that I keep on my wall of the Harmonics series. I've been working on it intermittently for years, but I plan to publish it as a poster at one point that you can put on your wall and study. A few things about this chart to clarify. You can see I put it in the key of C. You can put it in any key. I think that's the easiest one to conceptualize from. So key of C, you can see this covers one octave from C to C. Everything is falling between that octave somewhere. So anyway, the number 1, or the ratio 1/1, represents the struck note. When I play this fundamental C, an infinite number of notes are ringing out above that C. The note that my ear thinks it's hearing represents 1, or 1/1. It would be also the fundamental, or the bass note, or the root, or anyway, the number 1, the profundity of that number cannot be overstated. Every other number comes from it. In harmony here, you have to establish the bass note, so you can have all of these countless other harmonies on top of it, but establishing a 1 is primary to math or music. Without the 1, there is nothing else. So it might seem so simple that we don't even think about it, but it's really profound. And equally profound is the idea of going from 1 to 2. I know that was a favorite movement of the Pythagorean school of thought, is going from, unity to divisibility, or like from the principle of the universe to its furthest possible expansion. So an octave in music represents that far outermost border in tuning or pitch. So if we go from C up to C, we can see from this chart that that's the number 1 and 2. Something profound happened. We didn't. The nature established the law of octave. So anytime you have a double going from 1 to 2, or 2 to 4, or 4 to 8, or 3 to 6, and 6 to 12, and 12 to 24, those doubles or halves are always the exact same note, different by an octave. That's not how it works in Western music interval tuning. No one says, hey, double, go up by 2. They call it an octave. So anyway, which means 8, right? And yes, it's 8 in the scale that they use, but it's not 8 in the harmonic series. Well, actually, it is 8 because 1, 2, 4, 8. But anyway, doubling is an octave, and that takes the universe from its principle to its furthest possible expansion, of which every other number is going to fall somewhere in between that. So when we look at this chart, we see all these vertical dotted lines directly beneath the note names, or the piano note names at the top. Those vertical lines represent 12-tone equal temperament, or the tuning system we use, which equally divides the octave into 12 parts. This dotted line is exactly equal temperament, and you can see the big numbers in the harmonics, they don't exactly fall on that. And underneath the big number of the harmonic, we have the sense reading, which is how off or on it is. And sense represents, there's 100 cents per semitone, so you could actually call it percent. So look at the 5th harmonic here. You can see it's 14% flat in the harmonic series. And we look up at the 7th harmonic here, we can see it's 31 cents or 31% flat in the harmonic series as well. So these bigger solid black lines represent the point exactly between two notes. It's notes we don't even have a way to express in equal temperament, but in certain kinds of Arabic music and Indonesian music, they tune to those microtonal tunings, but we'll have to go into that later. Look at the harmonics themselves. They are the larger numbers in the circle. The bigger the number appears on the harmonic number itself on the chart, the more important that consonance is to this harmonic series. For example, outside of the fundamental 1 and the octave 2, which remember I said defined the entire musical boundary of the universe, the most important consonance outside of that is the 3rd harmonic, which creates what is mislabeled in Western music as the perfect 5th. But we can see here it's the 3rd harmonic that creates it. We call it the perfect 5th because the major scale. Okay. And this is the most common note other than 1. All the bass lines come from that boom, 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 boom. And in Western music, everything is based on going 1, if you're in C major, to 5, which would be like a G7. So it actually has the most important key movement in all of music as well. So absolutely profound that this light of 3 is shining into this musical universe, but we don't have a major chord yet. We just have the boom, 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 boom. Power chord is what we got. We got the power chord. 1, 2, 3 makes a C, C, G. So that smaller number under the harmonic itself is the sense reading. So you look at that small number and it tells you how off or on from equal temperament is the harmonic series. So let's look at that 3rd harmonic. We can see it's only 2 cents sharp. That's great. Remember I said 12 cents is about where the tunings just starts getting wonky. If you're within 2 cents, that is pretty good. Maybe that's why equal temperament works, is because the most important interval, that perfect 5th, is so close to being in tune. So that's a big win right there. For those who don't know what cents are, just to clarify, it's a way to say how far apart an interval is. So an octave has 1200 cents, so between this 1 and this 2, or the C and an octave higher C, is 1200 cents, and that's divided in that system equally. So 100 cents, 200 cents, 300 cents, all the way up to 1200 is how we tune it. And then if we get a deviation like the major 3rd here, the 5th harmonic, we can see, oh, it's 14 cents flat in the harmonic series. Okay. Like I said, there are some exotic notes that fall closer to this solid line halfway point, and probably sound very strange to our Western ears, but they do use them in many other countries, so those microtones are, to our Western ears, very exotic. Quick tour of the chart. 1 is the fundamental, or the 1/1. It's the C. It's the struck note. It's all the other notes are resonating inside of that one note. It's the most, the next most prominent harmonic is the 2nd, and it's the octave. It's the outer boundary of the musical pitch universe. It's called the octave, the law of double, the law of octave. Any double or half is the same note. So 1 is C, that means 2 would be C, and 4 would be C. Next we have the 4th harmonic, and if you remember the law of octave, 1 is doubled to 2, and 2 is doubled to 4, so it's the same note as 1 again. It's another octave. We made a power chord. We made C, C is an octave, then G would be our power chord, now another C. We just have this huge 4-note power chord. The 5th harmonic is differently tuned, like I said, 14 cents or 14% flatter than equal temperament. And it's the major 3rd, what they call it. Really, it's the 5th harmonic that gives, and it's really sad that it's out of tune because it's kind of the note of beauty, like the major note. So we've gotten used to hearing that equal tempered, sharp major 3rd that is actually closer to the 81st harmonic than it is to the 5th, as you can see there. Anyway, that's one of the things in that we could try to tune better, rectify in our tunings to get some better major chords. On and on the harmonics go up, getting quieter and quieter unto infinity. There's no clear point where they absolutely fade away, and that's sort of part of the mystery of it. But the main harmonics we're going to be hearing are 1 through 12, 1 through 8, 1 through 20, but they theoretically just keep going. It's like one of those curves that never ends, or the fade out or whatever. So why is it we only hear one note if there's a multitude of notes ringing? If you look at this graph, we see the first harmonic is by far the loudest. The 1 is the fundamental and the root of the harmonic series. The second harmonic is the next loudest, and it's the same note by the law of octave as we've discussed, reinforcing that first note that we think we're hearing. When you play 2 octaves, you still kind of hear one fat note, right? The third harmonic is the next loudest, and it's also the greatest consonance in music, what we call the perfect fifth, and that really helps it blend. And then 4 is another one, so 1, 2, 4. So we've really reinforced that C 3 times here with that really consonant G in the middle of it, and those are by far the loudest harmonics in the series, as you can tell. You can see the volume of continuing harmonics. They really starts to fade out infinitely, and the ear perceives just this one note. You can hear harmonics ringing out, and there's lots of kinds of music, the Tuvan throat singing, the way you play a violin bow closer to the bridge. There's so many ways harmonics are expressed that if you, as your ear gets better, you can hear them, but the average ear is just hearing the one note. It's probably better that way too, honestly. It would kind of drive you crazy if every time you played a single note there was like this huge harmony, but instead it's so in tune that it just locks in this geometrical way. There are 2 videos on the Harmonic series that I think will help clarify some of these central concepts that I'm laying out here. Take a moment to check these out. The video by Andrew Wang, called The Most Mind-Blowing Concept in Music, parentheses harmonic series, is one of the best videos I've seen, providing a general overview on the subject. Watch his unique and clear presentation and demonstration of this universal law. I would love to have Andrew on a future episode, or go on his show if you want to have me, but I think we could have a really fascinating conversation about the harmonic series. Second video is Leonard Bernstein, the great maestro, called the Bernstein, the Harmonic series. It's a speech and demonstration of the harmonic series given by this amazing composer and conductor. He says the harmonic series is arranged in an order preordained by nature and governed by the universal physical laws. Why is the harmonic series relevant? The harmonic series is of primary importance to music and musicians because it treats music as it is, living mathematics unfolding on 2 independent planes. On one plane is the simpler, more apparent math of rhythms. When you play rhythms, the ear does hear that sort of as math. On the other secret axis lies the more subtle math of harmonies and the ratios that produce them. The harmonic series offers us perfectly tuned intervals, something that popular 12-tone equal temperament cannot do, even though it comes close in a lot of ways. But just like rhythms are rhythms, harmonies are actually rhythms that strike our ear as harmonies. It would probably drive us nuts. I mean, it's another blessing of the harmonic series. If every time we heard a harmony, we heard the clanking of the rhythm between the 2 notes. Tuning by pure ratios is actually very intuitive for musicians who do it by ear and who wield instruments that can play microtonally, such as any fretless instrument or the human voice and others. Harmonic series produces tones that are so perfectly in tune with the fundamental that an instrument of variable pitch, such as a human voice, will instinctively tune by ear to the bass note, the fundamental, intuitively sensing the ratio. So, example, even if a fixed pitch instrument like a piano plays a C chord, and then I ask a singer to sing that E in the middle, that perfect fifth, which is out of tune, the singer's going to tune with their ear to that bass note. That is how powerful that mathematical connection is. So, huge difference in instruments that play by ear versus like a piano or a guitar who really can't do anything about their pitch. From the harmonic series unfold the primary elements of music. We have harmony, rhythm, and timbre all come from the harmonic series. Each of these elements are hidden in a single tone's harmonic series. Harmonic series is the basis of pitch, melody, and harmony because the series defines the harmonies themselves with whole number ratio overtones of the fundamental 1/1, 2/1, 3/1 that are all ringing out of each note, as we've talked about. Tuning does deviate from 12-tone equal temperament in a few lamentable places and more. Harmonic series is the basis of rhythm because a multitude of harmonics are vibrating simultaneously in various related rhythms. Incredibly, the ear perceives these harmonics not as a rhythm but as harmonies, like I said before, a blessing. Harmonic series is also the basis of the unique timbre of a particular musical instrument, the sound quality of which is largely determined by which harmonics are pronounced or attenuated, as the case may be, and then also things like the percussive attack of the instrument. The guitar's got the pick, the piano's got the hammer, and there's some noise elements that make an instrument sound the way it does. So the way an organ makes its different sounds is it has these drawbars which basically change the volume of different harmonics, like many harmonics, at least 8, and you can mix and match to get the tone you like. So there's the first harmonic. So you would think if I were to pull up some of these higher harmonics, it would just sound too weird when I go to play the sound. But all it does is change the timbre. Yeah, pretty miraculous the way you don't end up hearing those weird notes popping out. Alright, now I want to demonstrate the harmonic series on a drone instrument. I'm going to use my contrabass playing a low C, so my E string is tuned all the way down to C, so it's a very low note for the contrabass. And I'm going to put it in my DAW, and we're going to use the equalizer to sweep through frequencies that are just harmonics of that drone. So it's a very low note. C equals 32.36 hertz. A lot of speakers won't even go down that low, so you'll hear something, but you won't hear the full effect of that note. And then as it doubles and triples and quadruples in the harmonic series, you will definitely hear those notes. So check out this note. It's that low C drone, nice and beefy. All right, so first thing I want to do is actually take off some high end just so you can hear this low note, and it's going to be at 32.36 hertz. Some of you might not have that. So now let's go to the second harmonic, which is a double, and as you know, doubles are octaves. It's called the law of octave. So any double is the same note an octave higher, so 64.73 hertz, and we don't have to get exactly on it to hear it. You will hear the note popping out as we sweep across it. So 64.73, let's drag up there. There it is, loud and clear. Oof. Third harmonic is going to be 97.09 hertz. It's a perfect fifth in Western tuning. There it is. And the fourth harmonic is going to be another double of 1, because 1 times 2 times 2 is 4. So it's the same note as the fundamental, but another octave higher, so 129.45 hertz. Same note, there it is. Fifth harmonic is going to be pretty much the major third in Western music, except 14 cents flat, 161.82 hertz. Sixth harmonic's a double of the 3, so the perfect fifth again, 194.18 hertz. There it is. Then the seventh harmonic's a very unique note. It's a dominant seventh, coincidentally, 7/7, but 31 cents flat, so 226.54 hertz. Great note. Eighth harmonic's another double of 1, because 1 times 2 times 2 is 8, so that's going to be another C, 258.9 hertz. Ninth harmonic is 291.27 hertz. Then we get the 10th harmonic, another double of 5, so the major third, 323.63 hertz. Then the 11th harmonic's a very strange note. It's halfway in between F and F sharp, so between a perfect fourth and a flatted fifth, it's halfway, so 356 hertz is this 11th harmonic. Then finally the 12th harmonic is another double of 3, because 3 times 6 times 12, so another perfect fifth, which is G, 388.36 hertz. The presence of the harmonic series in every naturally produced audible music tone is the primary law of music and ought to be a frequent focus of meditation for serious musicians. This reality-shifting concept should astound us especially since we're not taught this in formal music courses other than in a very superficial way at best. Unfortunately, the established education system of Western music theory does not include the scientific basis of music in its curriculum, and relegates the glorious universal enterprise of music to a mere practical art, which it is much more than. I'm going to get more into that in the next episode or two, and I'm just going to skip to one quote by one of my favorite writers, Fabre d'Olivet, a French esotericist who wrote this in the early 1800s, I believe. I can look back, but he said, "I'm going to examine music in general as a science and as an art, and try to elicit from this examination a theoretical and practical system based on nature and uniting the principles discovered by the ancients with the knowledge acquired by the moderns. The study of these results are more important than one might think, for music is not merely, as is imagined today, the art of combining tones and the talent for reproducing them in the way most pleasant to the ear. That is only its practical side, which results in the ephemeral forms, more or less brilliant according to the time and place, the taste and the whim of the people, which make them vary in 1,000 different ways. Music regarded in its speculative aspect is, as the ancients defined it, the knowledge of the order of all things, the science of the harmonic relationships of the universe. It rests on immovable principles which nothing can alter." Fabre d'Olivet. Way more on this history of this subject in a different episode. Please consider joining my Patreon, High Castle Conservatory, link below, to get a much deeper insight on this subject and many more. You can check out my band, High Castle Tele Orchestra, on Bandcamp, where I employ some of these concepts with an international cast of virtuosos that are unbelievable. Check them out. To conclude, I will do a brief tour of the first 31 harmonics on the cello. I'll demonstrate it on my cello over here. I'm going to restrict the notes to an octave or two, just because I'm not a very good cellist, so I'm not going to just go up into the really high range. The musical value can always be reduced by octave. It doesn't really change much, except the spread of the harmonies or the balance. But the musical value of any note can be expressed in any octave except the bass region. Below 100 hertz or whatever, bass notes are going to collide pretty significantly. But once you get up to a reasonable frequency of hertz, 150, 200 hertz, you can stack notes on top of each other in any octave, and you'll get the basic value of the note. The voicing will obviously change, but so I'll put a drone note, and then I'll play, and I'll talk about the interval that I'm playing really quickly, and then I'll move on. 31 harmonics. All right, let's tour the first 31 harmonics. The first harmonic I cannot hit because it's that really low note, and this cello doesn't have it. So that's the low note, the 1. The second note I can hit, which is a low C here. So let's call that 2. 3 would be that thing called the perfect fifth in Western music, but it's actually the third harmonic. Pay close attention. You should be thinking 3, not 5 when you hit that note. It makes the power chord of the universe. 4 is another double of 2 and 1, and since we learned the law of octave, that means it's the same note again, C. 5 is a major third, but 14 cents flat. It's the note of beauty. It's a little sharper in Western. It's a shame. I can find that note on the harmonics of the open C string and tune to that. That's how I know where it is. That note is flatter than equal temperament. The 6th harmonic is another double of 3, so that misnomer perfect fifth again. The 7th harmonic is absolutely fantastic, exotic interval, 31 cents flat of equal temperament. I can find it on the open string, right there. Then I can tune to that on the fretted string. And equal temperament's much sharper, it's up here. And that's our dominant 7 note that makes us want to keep doing the blues. And if maybe it's not so much the blues when we flatten it a little. You can hear how much that's way flat, 31% flat, but it's such a good note. The 8 is just a double of the 1 again, 1, 2, 4, 8, same note, C. 9 is a D. And it's actually the major 9th in the major scale, so there's an accord there between those two notes. 10 is a double of the major 3rd again. Flat, 14 cents flat. 11 is exactly between an F and an F sharp, so it's an exotic interval we do not have in equal temperament. It's a little tense and foreign to our ears, but It's a really cool note. 12 is a double of 3 and 6, so same note G again. 13 is an intense note between G sharp and A. Cool note though. 14 is a double of 7, so we got that 31 cents flat exotic 7. 15 is the first major 7, but it's 12 cents flat. 16 is a double of 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. 17 is the first minor ninth or flat ninth, so you get that kind of thing. 17. 18 is a double of 9, so there's 18. 19 is our first minor compared to the 1, E flat. Only 3 cents off from equal temperament, pretty good. 20 is a double of 5, 10, 20. 21 is a 29-cent flat perfect fourth. 22 is a double of 11, that exotic note between F and F sharp. 23 is another exotic note, sharp of the sharp 5, 28 cents. 24 is another. 24 is another 3. 25 is a very flat minor 6. Very pretty. 26 is a double of 13. 27 is a first major 6th. 28 is another double of 7. Then 29 is a exotic dominant 7th or minor 7th interval that's sharp. There's the 29th. 30th is a double of 15, the major 7. 31 is a sharp major 7. Then finally back to 32, which is 1, 16, same as 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. But listen to that 31st again. So all the intervals together. Great intervals in there. I hope you enjoyed this.